Force, the Jedi. All of it. It's all true.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Star Wars Fiction. So I know I told you I would have a part out within the next week when I release part 10. Well, that new Darth Vader 2020 comic series put me on a bit of a hold. Let me explain. If you've read or watched the comic series here on YouTube, you know that Darth Vader is going to Padme's grave in between episodes 5 and 6 to learn the truth about his son Luke Skywalker. I won't spoil it for those of you who haven't read it yet, but due to me wanting to stay aligned with canon, I decided to go back to the drawing board. Here's part 11, and I hope you enjoy it because I did a lot of thinking and planning for this, and it does affect the bigger story of our fanfiction. And lastly, if for some reason you haven't seen parts 1 through 10, please click away and click the playlist video card above you to check them out and to work your way back here so that it all makes sense. And now, without further delay, let's make the jump back into our fanfiction story. We find ourselves on the planet of Dagobah, inside the deep swamps where a small hut is located. A white and red T6 shuttle has landed off in the distance. A woman in gray robes is meditating and drawing in on the life force of the planet and releasing her negative energy. She continues to try and try again after many failed attempts to reach out to the force, since she had heard the voice of none other than Master Yoda several weeks ago. "To Dagobah you must go," is what the Grand Master had instructed her. She had learned a great deal during her extended time on Malachor, but she had never expected to go to another quiet and desolate place so soon after being rescued and getting her hands on a Jedi transport, even though it was old and not in the best shape. "I await your instruction, Master," she said once more. "I am a conduit of the Force, and follow its will," she offered. Moments later, after nothing, yet again, she could begin to sense something dark, and not far from her. If she were still a Padawan, she would have drawn her lightsabers at this point out of pure instinct, but instead, she narrowed her eyes and focused in on the source, cautiously walking towards it. She came upon a simple and small cave, yet powerful in the dark side of the Force. Ahsoka knew that she needed to enter, her focus at the ready. As she drew deep within the cave, she saw a young boy standing in front of her, now transforming into a man, wielding a green lightsaber. At first she thought it could be Ezra, until he turned and she saw his face. "You must be my father's apprentice," he told her with a grin on his face. "I was," is all she could say before being hit with flashes of her duel with Anakin, no, Darth Vader, on Malachor. "There is still good in him," the boy offered, before suddenly being attacked by him. Furious breathing engulfed the sound of the red lightsaber swinging at the boy. He was then told by Vader that if he didn't turn to the dark side, then perhaps his twin sister would. This enraged the young man, and he gained the upper hand quickly on Vader, cutting off his hand and standing over him. "Don't kill him," Ahsoka heard herself shouting. The boy turned to look at Ahsoka. No, past Ahsoka, to see a dark-robed figure. Emperor Palpatine himself. The Emperor had offered for the young Jedi to take his father's place, but he instead threw down his lightsaber and proclaimed to be a Jedi like his father once had. Lightning then shot from the Emperor's fingertips in pure fury. Ahsoka ignited her lightsabers and attempted to block the power of the Sith Master. Soon enough, she was knocked to the ground, her lightsabers falling from her hands. She was simply not strong enough to deflect the Sith lightning. Darth Vader then slowly rose, and as Ahsoka lay next to the young boy, she felt the power of the dark side moving through her. But she embraced it and used it to channel her strength. As she opened her eyes once more, she noticed the Emperor was now gone, with Vader. No, the body of Anakin laying on the ground with the sun crouched over him. Everything then went dark. The vision was over. As Ahsoka found her way out of the cave, she then saw Obi-Wan and Yoda waiting for her. She could not believe her eyes at first, as they had a glowing blue aura around them. She then realized that they were dead. "Masters," is all she could manage to say. "Do not pity the dead, Ahsoka," Obi-Wan began. "The Force allows us to retain our consciousness after death, if properly trained," he continued. "But how did you both die?" she asked. "Time it was for us to pass into the Force and serve a new purpose," Yoda answered. "But what about Vader?" she then asked sadly. "Anakin was able to defeat Vader and Palpatine with the help of his son Luke. But he is still trying to save the galaxy like he used to, and is once again vulnerable to the dark side." "Why can't Luke help him fight it?" she asked, still in shock that he had two children. There was no doubt of who their mother was. "Luke is still a young Jedi, much like you were when you decided to go to Mandalore. Anakin cannot teach him alone. He needs you. It takes a great effort to appear to him in the armor of Vader, as it is warded by Sith magic," Obi-Wan said. "But all the things he's done to the galaxy, the suit he now wears, won't he have to go into exile once the galaxy realizes who he is?" she asked. "Always in motion, the future is, Ahsoka. Should you not help him, a dark fate he still may have," Yoda proclaimed. "Remember, Ahsoka, follow the Force, and it will guide you," Obi-Wan said, as he and Yoda began to slowly fade away. Ahsoka then turned and began to head towards her ship. She then drew on the power of the Force as her ship climbed out of Dagobah's atmosphere. As if the Force was guiding her hand, she then calculated a series of coordinates and began to jump to hyperspace. "Pelio," she said to herself out loud as she began searching the holonet for any information that she could find on the planet. All that came to her were thoughts of Ezra. She knew she would have to find out what happened to him after she found Anakin. We are once again on the planet of Jakku, where Gallius Rex is now staring at his Super Star Destroyer in orbit. This was his master's last command before the destruction of the second Death Star. Now it was up to him to take full control and amass the forces of the Empire from the prying eyes of the Rebellion, once Operation Cinder had been completed. The only problem was the now absence of Grand Admiral Rey Sloane. She was still a critical part of his plans, even after her failure to stop Darth Vader above the planet of Vardos. She would have to be found, even if she had fled, as Gallius had believed. Now, the Emperor's only living advisor, Yupe Tashu, stood next to him in his eerie and sleek dark robes, wishing to speak.
"The Shadow Council should consist of yourself as Emperor, while everyone thinks that Ameda has gained the title. Myself as your advisor, Grand Moff Pidion, Commandant Brindle Hux, and Grand Admiral Rey Sloane."
He paused with concern in his voice.
"Without the Grand Admiral, and Vader trying to seize power, it becomes harder to control our remaining forces.
I saw what happened with Garrick Versio and Moff Wraith. With Vader in play, this changes everything our Emperor envisioned, Rax said in an aggravated tone of voice.
Yes,
Tashu said coldly.
Vader was a Sith Lord, like Master Sidious. The apprentice will succeed or fail in overthrowing the Master eventually, as it is with their tradition. Luke Skywalker is the son of Vader. He was called the Shadow Point, as we were told by our late Emperor, before departing the second Death Star's throne room.
You mean to say they have succeeded in taking the mantle of Sith from Palpatine? Gallius asked in amazement.
This is how it appears,
Tashu responded.
My people have served the Sith for generations. I am the eyes, ears, and voice of the Sith Eternal, which serves the Sith Master. My people must not know that Vader survived, or they could swear loyalty to him and no longer Sidious and the contingency. We must remain loyal to our true Master, even in his death, as Vader was never a true Sith Lord. He was formerly a Jedi.
I don't care about the past. Vader must be destroyed. We must lure him here, Gallius said furiously. I know there is more to the contingency. You are holding information from me, Tashu. Now there was a strained moment of silence before Tashu responded.
Lord Sidious was wise, too wise for even myself to comprehend. You have your instructions, as I have mine. We must trust his plan, and all will be revealed when the time has come.
You say that as if you know what's going to happen, as if Emperor Palpatine will somehow return. Even the Force can't bring people back from the dead. I've studied enough of the Jedi and Sith lore over my years in isolation on Jakku, Gallius said with even more anger in his voice. At this point, Yupe Tashu had already turned to leave Gallius' quarters.
You will find that the dark side allows many unnatural things to occur, my boy. The dead speak if you listen close enough.
And just like that, Tashu was gone, leaving Gallius Rex to ponder on their perplexing conversation. We are now once more on the planet of Naboo, at the Nabari family lake house, as the sun is setting on the water. Anakin looked at his reflection in the water, seeing the monster he had become. The one he had been fighting so hard now to destroy, but the one that was still needed to save the galaxy.
I failed you all those years ago, Padme,
He admitted out loud.
Our children are now with me. Luke and Leia are safe, and I will protect them. They are part of you, my angel.
He then grew silent, knowing that he would have to soon leave, as Padme's family would soon return from the royal dinner.
I wish I would have run away with you instead of turning to the dark side,
He said in an agonizing voice.
I thought I could save you, but I killed you when you tried to save me.
It was as if he heard his voice echo across the water, as if seconds had now turned into minutes. He then turned to leave, only to see a woman standing at the top of the stairs in a white hooded cloak with her face hidden. You must learn to forgive yourself, Anakin, if you expect others to forgive you,
Ahsoka,
Anakin said as his suit began to breathe faster for him.
I thought I...
The Force destined for us to cross paths once more, Master, she said in a serious tone. Although I will admit the last time we met, you almost killed me, she said, drawing her lightsaber and pointed the white blade, holding it to Vader's mask. Anakin did not move. She then deactivated her blade, touching where it once had cut his mask during their duel on Malachor.
I was there, inside of Vader,
he admitted. But it wasn't your time to return to the light, Ahsoka then said. The Force showed me what happened to you and Luke while fighting Palpatine.
Ahsoka, I am not the man I used to be,
he then said, kneeling in front of her.
I do not deserve to be in your presence.
At this point, it was almost impossible for her to hold back her tears as she kneeled next to him. She could sense his deep remorse now. Obi-Wan and Master Yoda sent me, she finally offered. It was the will of the Force for me to help you, Anakin. It always has been.
I must now protect Luke and Leia and train them in the Force as much as I can. They are the last part of Padme,
Anakin said as he then got back to his feet and was now followed by Ahsoka. But now all she did was stare at him as she reached into her bag and withdrew a silver and blue compass and handed it to Anakin. From the Emperor's vault on Pelio, she offered. Somehow, it will help us rebuild the Jedi Order. I can feel it, she said confidently. Now bridging together their once strong Force connection, Anakin spoke to Ahsoka through her mind. You have grown strong in the Force, Snips, he said at last. I know Obi-Wan is also proud of you, he told her as they began to walk off into the night of Naboo. Alright, my friends, that's part 11, which is honestly my favorite part that I've made so far. It took the longest to write because I know how many of you have been asking for Ahsoka to enter this fan fiction. I just wanted to find a way where it felt natural and not forced, and I hope you liked how she returned to Anakin when he needed her the most. And if for some reason you aren't subscribed, please hit that red subscribe button and that little bell notification icon so you can be the first to know when part 12 comes out. In the meantime, stay safe, my friends. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you wherever you may be in the galaxy far, far away.